of Season 2, Episode 49. I've been waiting for this one all day long, all week long, all for 2 years long. It's the MCU Phase 4 Rankings Show. I am Brandon Davis. Please call me PD. Joined today by Jenna Anderson.
Hey, everybody. I am so scared. I'm terrified.
Look at Jenna's new mic setup and everything. My goodness, it looks so good. It sounds so good. We love to see it. Jamie, how you doing?
Oh, great. Okay.
There's a little shake in your voice there, Jamie. What's going on? Anything going on today?
Oh,
This is what the rankings do. And we got Aaron Perrine. Aaron, how you feeling?
All right. I think Jamie's just reading some more of those James Gunn tweets that we're going to keep rolling in while we're talking.
Literally during the countdown, I was like, wow, he really did that. That was amazing. Never a dull moment being a DC fan. I can say that much.
My goodness gracious. What a James Gunn tweet now. If it's not a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer, We're not talking about it on today's show. We have a lot of MCU news to talk about. We have a Spider-Verse trailer to talk about. We got a lot to talk about, but we're going to save that all for next week because this entire show is going to be MCU Phase 4 rankings. There are 18 titles. And I want to remind everybody, in 2 weeks, another show I'm very much looking forward to is going to be our Most Marvelous Moments of 2022 episode. We're all going to bring three moments from the MCU and the Marvel news mill to the show. We're going to go through those, all 12 of them, and just go through a top 12 because that's a nice round number for each of us to do 3. Sorry, top 10 sounds better, but there's 4 of us and we each get 3, so it just works out that way. But today's all about MCU Phase 4 hype rankings. They're not hype rankings. This is quality rankings, and I think we'll go around and we'll each explain, what criteria we used to rank our titles. This includes movies, Disney Plus shows, and special presentations. The eligible titles: WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Black Widow, Loki, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, What If, Eternals, Hawkeye, Spider-Man No Way Home, Moon Knight, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I Am Groot, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk Attorney at Law, Thor Love and Thunder, Werewolf by Night, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. This is an MCU rankings show. Morbius is not here for 2 reasons. One, it's not MCU. It stole Vulture from the MCU in a really weird way. But it's not. It's a Sony Spider-Man universe thing, whatever they're doing over there. It's not part of the MCU officially. Maybe the multiverse. I don't even know. I don't even know if they know. But it's not part of this rankings. And also, number 2, it wouldn't have been fair because we would have unanimously put Morbius number 1. So we wanted to give some to have a number 1 spot on the list. So anybody got anything they want to say before we kick off our rankings? Anybody want to speak their final words?
I mean, I just want to make it, everyone remember that if this was like Jim coming in here and saying, write an official list for comicbook.com, our orders would be different. These are very personal lists, personal taste. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, listen, so I'll go first and explain how I made my rankings. I just basically, I looked back at everything. And some what you'll see in my list is some of my opinions have changed. Things are ranked differently. Like my opinion changes over time every once in a while. Most of it stays the same. There's a couple that I'll watch again, or I'll just try to watch again and not enjoy. And I'll think about, and I'll spend time writing about and talking about on the show. And I'm like, well, I like it more, or I like it less. Or I'll listen to you guys talk about it, and you guys will change my opinion because that's an interesting point. That made me like the show more. That made me like the movie more. So that's kind of how I did. Like basically rewatchability, initial reaction, like initial experience watching it, quality of the story, quality of the characters is a big one for me, and how excited it made me for the future of the characters are all things I considered when making my list here. If anybody wants to speak on how you guys chose it, feel free. Nobody has to. We can jump in, but if anybody wants to talk about how they landed on their list, their rankings, go ahead. Anybody?
I feel like mine is basically a lot of what you said, and then it's also rewatchability. It's like how likely and how willing am I to rewatch this thing, or how much am I like, I'm good. I've seen this X amount of times, and I think that's fine. And then I've spoken about it on the show before, but just how much is this particular project the perfect project for the character that it is involving? Is it exactly the kind of story that it should be for the character that it concerns? And I feel like that kind of unintentionally influenced a lot of my decisions.
Mm-hmm. It's all fair. All right. I feel like we're all ready to jump in. All right. So
let's rip off
everybody in the comment section. Everybody in the comment section, I encourage you to play along. We're going to start at 18. There are 18 titles in Phase 4 of the MCU. when we start revealing our 18s, feel free to drop yours in there. Aaron is burdened with going first. Aaron, how you feeling about that?
Boy. Glorious Purpose. Let's get into it.
Did you just say Loki's in last place?
No, I did not. No one clip that and take me out of context. So at 18, I've got I Am Groot, which was a show that was fun to watch, but something has to go last. I am amused that it ended up factoring into the holiday special just a tinge. But yeah, that's gonna be me for 18.
All right. I mean, I don't have much to say because I completely agree with you. In my 18th spot, I also have I Am Groot. They were completely harmless, but also completely forgettable. They were also confusing on whether or not they were MCU canon, to the point that James Gunn said conflicting things with the producers and the writers. So I was just like, you know what? People forgot these were even coming out. So here we are. They're fine. I never need to watch them again. I never needed to watch them in the first place. They didn't do anything for me. And we're moving on.
Before I start, I just want to say that Letterboxd rules. I'm going to say that I am already at the very bottom in a 3.5 zone. There's nothing in Phase 4 for me that's less than a 3.5, which I think is like really good, because 3.5 is still pretty good. And yeah, I Am Groot. It's adorable. It's just there's no story. Like it's hard to put it above anything else. So same.
It's the first project in the MCU that made me be like, why? What was the point? Like, it was fine. It was cute. But I was also like, whoa. Okay, sorry, Jenna, go ahead.
We are already like, I'm in a completely different stratosphere from everybody else, and I don't know how to feel about that. I have a feeling the chat is going to go on fire. My last is Thor: Love and Thunder. And for me, it is just it's a disappointment thing. I am still just like fundamentally disappointed in so much movie. Back to the watchability. I've seen it twice in theaters. I have no desire to rewatch it again. I know I reviewed it for the website and I reviewed it pretty positively, but it's the thing of like, the more that I think about it, the more I'm just like, I am so disappointed by what could have been with this movie and what actually was. And it just like makes me angry every single time I think about it. And so it went last with me, and I'll stand by that.
Wow.
I respect that.
For those of you playing at home, Jenna's had a rough couple of days with the Wonder Woman stuff, and then this. I think she's lashing out.
I was just talking, and I could see the chat just flying by, and I'm like, oh boy, okay. Someone had to go first. It was spicy picks, and I guess mine was the first one. So
I'll say this: my opinion of Thor has fallen from the first time I saw it, as I've said before. So I understand why you put it there ahead of I Am Groot. And What If, though? I mean, I am surprised. All right, Aaron, take us to number 17.
All right. Wow. So that happened. I got What If at 17. Love the art style, which references old like Saturday Evening Post stuff. That's really cool. And I feel like we're going to get some more stuff that might tangent to collect more into season 2. But season 1 was like fun. Like, it was just kind of there. Same thing.
Yeah, again, Aaron, great taste. I'm with you. There's some stuff in What If that I thought was spectacular, like the Doctor Strange episode. I did enjoy the Hank Pym kills the Avengers stuff. Infinity Ultron was like cool, I guess. But What If is in my number 17 spot because for the most part, I just didn't really care for much of it. And I can't even say that if it was in live action, I would have cared more. Like, I really enjoy animation. I love Invincible, but What If just didn't do much for me. I feel like the multiverse stuff has started to already fall a little flat for me, and this is where it started. So it was just a show. It was fine. It had some good stuff, but it also was a show that I was like, all right, we got to wake up and watch What If. Here we go. So, Jamie.
I recently declared, I think on Letterboxd, that I had seen every Phase 4 project at least twice, but I was not including I Am Groot, and I was not including What If. Like, those they don't even count to me. I'm glad we're doing them in this ranking because they're giving a buffer for the rest of our choices. But yeah, What If. I mean, everything you guys said.
All right, Jenna.
I'm not being controversial this time. Mine is also What If for every reason that was previously listed.
We have literally found I Am Groot's biggest fan.
I will say, because when we get to I Am Groot, we just rewatched those at Thanksgiving. Like my Chris's family put them on at Thanksgiving, and I was like, these hold up so much better than I thought they did. So that is why it is not at the bottom for me. I will just say that much.
Well, I'll say, listen, I Am Groot. I put it in last place, but like there's some cute, fun stuff in there, like Jamie said. But for me, it was just like, okay, well, these are like these weird 2-minute, 3-minute little things. They're just like, whatever. The tree committed genocide in that show.
That
But
was the best part.
Yeah.
maybe
It's
that
hilarious.
just didn't do much for me. But here we all are with What If across the board at the 17 spot. All right, we're into the top 16, the round of 16.
All right, so at 16, I got Falcon Winter Soldier. Coming into Phase 4, I would not have imagined that I would have had that low. Maybe it's a testament to the rest of the projects and the strength of the rest of the slate. Maybe it's just, I wanted a little bit more. One day we're gonna get Anthony Mackie doing something where it's just him. One day, and maybe Sebastian Stan can come because he's delightful and he was nice to Jamie.
He was.
I enjoyed Falcon and Winter Soldier for what it was. I think it could have been so much better, but I did enjoy it. But I agree. That was the beginning of the trend of save the costume for the end. And well, actually, WandaVision was that, but WandaVision did it first, so it was the original. All right. I mean, anybody got any comments on Aaron's 16 pick before I reveal mine? Oh boy, I was hoping to stall. My number 16 is, drumroll please.
Oh no.
Eternals. I have Eternals in the 16 spot. Eternals is the first time the MCU has done something where I kind of wish they got a do-over. Because I felt like there's so much here that for the future of the MCU story, I'm just like, this stuff just doesn't feel like it fits. And they just don't acknowledge it. And these characters have been there for so long. And like, were they? Like, how does this work? It's the first time that really I felt like, there's so much, there's characters in Eternals I loved. Makkari and Druig are incredible, but they were so underused. It was so crowded and overstuffed. And like, why did Icarus bother getting everybody together? If Icarus literally did nothing, he would have accomplished his goal. Like, Icarus assembled all the people who could stop him into a room with him. If he did nothing for 7 days, they would have never even known that the emergence was going to happen, and he would have accomplished his goal. I don't know. Eternals, it's right there on the cusp of, was it good or not for me? Like, sometimes I think it was like fresh. Sometimes I think it was rotten. I'm right there on the cusp with it. I don't really care to see that story, go much further. I think the Celestial thing was just bad. I didn't like it. I didn't like the exposition dump in that movie. And Eternals is a movie, and it's my number 16. Anybody got thoughts? Anybody want to dog me?
I mean, we might as well just jump right into mine because I'm also at Eternals at 16.
Wow.
Same list so far. We know that's going to veer off quick, but for now, everything you said pretty much. The thing about this movie is that there are some characters that I deeply love and can't wait to see again, and there are other characters that I'm like, oh, I find you obnoxious and I want nothing to do with you. And like that with the runtime, I don't think it was released at the right time. We've talked about this, but the stakes were too high. It just didn't feel in the right place. If it had been released later, I think the direction's beautiful, visually it's beautiful, but like and again, 3.5, that's not so bad, but compared to the others, it's more of a slog than the others.
Hey, look, the MCU can have sex, bonus points. Like, no, you gotta do more.
Did they have sex?
I'm still uncomfortable every time I think about that scene, which is a problem considering the people that are involved. Like,
Rusting.
Yeah,
I'm saying, yeah, it's a movie. Listen, it's a movie.
Well, I'm going to continue that trend because I agree that it's also a movie and it's also my 16th pick. First and foremost, I like what the movie was going for, but I wish they would have leaned into the Jack Kirby of it all a little bit more. There's so much just like blandness where they could have really leaned into the aesthetics of what Jack Kirby created. And I agree with like what BD said. I think so much of this movie just feels like a fever dream in the landscape of the MCU. It feels like so much of it isn't going to matter for the foreseeable future. There are times where I remember scenes in that movie and I'm like, that really happened, and like we're never going to address that again in the immediate future. So I love the cast. I love the idea of it. I love Chloe Zhao. It's just like the execution of it. That's why it's number 16 for me.
I think it's all fair. Aaron, as the outlier who has Eternals higher than us, how you feeling?
All right, because the chat and the community was really high on it, and it ain't my 15.
All right.
But what is my 15 is the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I have grinched myself into time here, unfortunately. I know that that's probably gonna be higher for a lot of you. It feels like you could just replay what I said last year during this very same exercise, but I don't know what it is about the holiday specials. I'm just like, but I don't know why it didn't bounce off Hawkeye like that. Someone's gonna have to do a study. So yeah, that's why I got a 15.
Wow.
I disagree.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought the holiday special was very good, and I love the Guardians characters. But here, I'm about to get even with you, Aaron.
Yeah.
My number 15 is Ms. Marvel, which I have a pretty decent gap though between Ms. Marvel and Eternals, to be honest with you. And you'll notice this is a different order than my series rankings already. But Ms. Marvel, I really enjoyed the character of Kamala Khan. I loved her family. I loved the New Jersey stuff, like the kind of like the same way, like it had elements of like Spider-Man Homecoming, where it's like, okay, you have this like high schooler who has to deal with like a social life versus a superhero life and balancing that. And I always find that to be a really interesting dynamic. And this show did that really well until it didn't. And then it kind of went off the rails a little bit. And I was like, all right, we're in the partition. This is really interesting to learn about this. What is it doing for the story of Miss Marvel? That started as like this kind of character trying to be a superhero, and it worked. I mean, a lot of it did work, but ultimately, I feel like maybe if this came out earlier, I would have liked it more. And I think that's you could switch the release orders for some of these, and they would end up changing the rankings for me anyway. I think maybe I just got kind of tired of the big left turn in episode 5 that these shows started to do, and this one did that. The stakes, like Eternals, ended up being too high for me, and I kind of lost me a little bit in like the back half of the show, and ultimately it lands at number 15. That said, Iman Vellani's a legend. She does such a great job as Kamala, and this is a character I can't wait to see more of, and it did successfully get me more excited for the Marvels than I was before. All right.
Wow. I just don't know what to say.
Here's where me and Jamie are going different ways.
This is it. Our lists are different now. Mine next is Thor: Love and Thunder. Thor: Love and Thunder and Eternals are very close 3.5s for me. They're the only reason Thor beats Eternals is because it features characters that I deeply love and have loved for a long time. Like that's the only reason. There's just characters that I was more excited to see. In terms of quality, they're pretty on par with each other in my brain. And honestly, Jenna made me wish I'd put it low.
Wow.
See, the reason that you gave of like these are characters you know and love is exactly why it's at the bottom for me, because it's like I expected more of these characters who I had loved and didn't get that. So, but I respect your choice. That is a good place to put it. My number 15 is Falcon and Winter Soldier. For a lot of the same reasons that Aaron kind of listed. I know I've said it on the show before. I still think like this could have been a movie. Like there's a really good trimmed down movie version of what we ended up seeing. And instead we got like 6 episodes of like a Scooby-Doo chase around the world, like of people just kind of outrunning each other. I like so many of the elements of it. If you told me at the start of phase 4 that like I would put a Sam and Bucky show this low, I would not have believed you, but it's just a thing of the actual execution of it and so many elements of it, like all of the stuff with Sharon and the power broker and all of that, and the Flag Smashers kind of lost me, but I love so much of it. It's just it felt right at number 15 for me.
That's fair. That's all fair. I agree. Would have been a better movie. I do have to agree with you. All right, we are in the round of 14 now. Comment section, drop your number 14 as we go through it. Aaron, drop yours.
Okay, so I got Eternals at 14. I liked it a little bit more upon rewatch than you guys did. I think that, I don't know, thinking about a lot of the stuff that's coming forward, I think it is very, very possible that we see some of the elements from this faster than maybe it seems like right now. Because like one of the things that we've all joked around about as we head towards Secret Wars is that you literally aren't going to know when certain things are going to pop back up. And it's going to become a nightmare for our jobs to keep track of who is in what and who appears in what. So I feel like I like the setup that for some of this stuff. I hope that they're rewriting Blade so that Kit's in there looking bewildered through half of it while Mahershala is just cutting people down. I liked it a lot on rewatch. So it's up at 14 for me.
I just can't. I don't enjoy rewatching it. I just think so much of it, like it's beautiful. Chloe did such a good job with some of the cinematography, But the way they just line up at the beginning, I'm just like, man, what are we doing here?
I just wanted you to know I'm a hypocrite because the same things I'm saying about rewatching Eternals and it being beautiful, the beautiful gowns argument is the same stuff I'd probably use against Avatar: The Way of Water. Probably the exact same. I contain multitudes.
Okay.
Well, at least Eternals has an hour on it.
Yeah.
All right. My number 14. What is my number 14? I gotta look at okay. My number 14 is The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like Jenna said, actually, I think this would have been a better movie. That said, I think it was still like pretty good. I just think the sum of the first 5 were better than the finale. I love the John Walker stuff. I thought that he was really fun to hate. I thought the bloody shield image was really memorable. And I can't say from any of the other 4 that are below this, there was anything that memorable that kind of stuck with us that way, any image or moment. I think that Sam and Bucky's dynamic is really fun, but ultimately, I feel like you could have not watched The Falcon and the Winter Soldier and gone into Captain America 4 after watching Endgame and not really feel like you missed anything. And I do feel like there was a better version of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier that they might have made along the way if like rumors and leaks are to be believed when you're in the trenches of seeing this stuff on social media. I'm not going to drop any here because I don't know what's true or false, but it was fine. Falcon Winter Soldier was fine. It was good. It was lucky it came out when it did because we were still excited about Marvel content, like just because we hadn't had any, and I mean we still are. But like at the time, it was like the drought was still ending. There was no movies yet. It was right after WandaVision, and then ultimately ended up just being fine. It was good. I enjoyed it, but it's not high. It can't be higher than 14 for me. And it honestly could have been swapped with Ms. Marvel.
I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of like you don't have to watch it because my best friend has seen pretty much every Marvel thing, but he hasn't watched that. He's like, oh, it feels like homework, and he hasn't done it. And I will say, segue into it. BD, we're back on track because that's also my number 14.
Yes. Me and Jamie called. We said, you want a match today?
Yeah. I will say though, we have already reached the 4-star zone. Even though The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is my bottom 4-star, it's still 4-star for me. And that's because there are moments I truly love. Episode 5, when they're building that boat together, is one of my favorite things that's ever happened. But as everyone's already said, it could have been a movie. It should have been a movie. But I still give it 4 stars.
Fair. Jenna, what about you? What's your number 14?
My number 14 is I Am Groot. Don't worry, it wasn't about to be like in my top 5 or anything, but I having just recently rewatched these. They are just short, dumb bursts of serotonin that are just very adorable and charming. And the animation and the character styles are like way more detailed than they could have been. They could have easily phoned this in a little bit more, but like they really put the work into these and they're just fun to watch. I feel like I'm more likely to rewatch these if I have a couple of minutes and nothing better to do because they're just so charming. So I don't know. It deserved to be a little bit higher than last place for me.
That's fair. And I agree with you. Like they're good. They're fun. They're silly little, good little well animated shorts. It's just, I think for me, my preferred style of my preferred medium of storytelling just isn't that, So for me, that's kind of, I think, why I put it low. But I do agree. I think they're not bad. They're certainly not bad. They're harmless.
Honestly, Jenna, you've convinced me that I put it in the wrong place because I have nothing negative to say about it, but I have negative things to say about a lot of those other things. So it just felt like, an easy choice, and now I regret it. So
I demands a recount.
That was also because I know we've in the past with some of our rankings we've put animation near the bottom, and I was like, I don't want to do that just because I wanted to actually think about it. And I agree with what Jamie said of I have more negative things to say about some of the other things I put below it. So I was like, I can't just put I Am Groot last just because it's animation. It still is really good animation. So, and it's harmless. I would rather have something that's harmless than oh no, here's this thing that completely broke the canon of the MCU and now we have to stress about it forever. It's it just is, and I like it for that.
Professor Jenna with the biggest brain on the show, as always.
Thank you.
All right. Number 13, Aaron.
I have returned, and I see
Lucky
that Jenna taught us something. Black Widow is at 13. I rewatched it, and I liked it more because I think I had this way lower last year than some of this other stuff that's on here. So I kind of, maybe it's that Nat's been gone now for forever. And maybe it's that we finally got a funeral that she should have had at some point before Hawkeye, in Hawkeye. But I really, really liked it on rewatch. And, who says no to more David Harbour? who says no to more Florence Pugh. But I think that something has to go down here near the bottom. I don't know.
And I disagree.
I know. I know that Jamie and Jenna do too. Like,
I'll
I totally
my
do.
case for Black Widow when I get to Black Widow.
Yeah.
My number 13 is Thor: Love and Thunder. There has never been. This is only the second time in my life I've had my opinion of a movie fall this far after being tricked by the premiere night. No, that's my own responsibility. Listen, I watched Thor: Love and Thunder at the premiere. You all heard me come on here and rave about it. It was so much fun that night. We laughed a lot. We had a great time. I thought the movie was hilarious and entertaining and had like good heart. And I said all the things I said about it. I still think that's why it's not lower, because I still think it's funny and I still think it's got some good elements. But I've watched it again. I remember, when you find a good TikTok and you want to show it to your friend, and you're like, watch how funny this is. And then they watch it and they're just like, and you're like, no, but isn't that funny? That's kind of how I felt when I took Richard to go see Thor: Love and Thunder on opening night here in Nashville. Nobody in the theater was laughing, and I was like, what's going on here? This is a whole different movie. And then I read what people said about it. I listened to you guys talk about it, and I was like, and I heard about the deleted scenes with Gore, and I was just like, man, Gore was so well performed, but like, what did he do? He didn't do a damn thing. So ultimately, my opinion of Thor: Love and Thunder has really fallen. I don't know that I'd say it's a bad movie. I just don't think I'd say it's a good movie. Like, it's entertaining, but the story should have been so much better, and I'll never forgive it for that personally. And I fell victim to the excitement of watching it in a crowd that was just really excited, and that's a lesson learned right there.
Okay, Peter is suggesting we move faster, but this slot is the number one slot I'm most nervous about, and the one that I'm gonna get the most crap for. So I'm like, I have a lot to say. Now, just let me explain myself. But it's Shang-Chi for me in number 13. And let me say, still a 4. And when I reviewed it for the site, I gave it a 4.5, and I stand by that. As an overall, for other people, 4.5, very well made film. But I've talked about this before. I love the first half of this movie. It is a martial arts, awesome movie with great characters. The second half of this movie is just not my kind of movie. All these CGI little animals, what's going on, the whole story, it's just not a me movie. And I could watch the first half of this movie on repeat, but the second half is just not my style. I cannot stress enough that if this was a not biased Jamie ranking, this movie would be way higher, but that's not what we're doing, and I'm sorry. I hope that you all can respect and love me anyway.
We're fighting. I just canceled your Christmas present.
I said before we started recording, I hope we're all still friends at the end of this, and you're already proving me wrong.
Jenna, go ahead.
All right. Well, so I feel like I need to enter witness protection for a completely different reason. My number 13 is Moon Knight. I can hear Jim Viscardi crying right now. We are now at the point in the rankings of like the middle tier where I feel like any of the rankings of where things fell could kind of depend on the day, really. I love Oscar Isaac. Who doesn't love Oscar Isaac? I love the cast of this show so much. It's just there's so much of it that felt like episodes kept going on and nothing really of consequence happened. I still love just the general vibe of it. I'm so excited to see where like Moon Knight goes next. It's just we're kind of at the point where I like all of the things from like here up until like number 6. It's just like this had to fall somewhere.
I can hear Jim's footsteps across the office right now. Richard, keep him out of the studio. Aaron, what you got for 12? We got to pick it up a little bit here.
All right. The whole list is determined into like he's my friend, so was I. I got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness at 12.
Wow.
I liked it enough, but I don't know. People, once again, I feel like I'm just reading off the Cribs notes from last year. Like, TV is kind of my thing. I've learned that about myself. Wait, hold on. What?
Wait,
hold on.
It
What?
says Love and Thunder.
Oh, well, Love and Thunder. Okay, fine. My fault. I'm reading fast because I'm like, I have to keep going fast. So yeah, Love and Thunder is at 12.
Whoops. Well, I guess we know what 11 is.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder, Aaron's number 12 pick. All right, my number 12 is She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. As you can see, it climbed up my rankings a bit. I had it at the bottom of the list for TV series. I listened to everybody talk about it. I thought about it some more. Ultimately, I think there's more I enjoy in She-Hulk than everything else on this list so far. I wish that there was a bit more of an arc instead of like we're throwing the arc out, here's a clever gimmick at the end. But the Jennifer Walters character I thought was fantastic. I can't wait to see her more. I thought the supporting cast in this was great. I did just ultimately want it to have more of like a payoff and just growth. And I felt like the growth got kind of thrown out in favor of the Kevin gimmick, which was a fun one-time thing, but ultimately not exactly my thing. And I thought the show was hilarious. I think it's probably the funniest thing. Those first 5 especially, I was on board. And then the back 4, I started kind of losing me when they started introducing a whole bunch of characters and expanding the MCU in ways that felt almost like Eternals did, saying, here's a whole bunch of characters that exist. The MCU is super, super populated with things you haven't seen before. And I was like, oh, well, the Sokovia Accords are repealed. We just learned it on the throwaway line. But hey, Daredevil was there, so that was cool. And She-Hulk's great. So it's at my number 12.
I will say,
shout out to I was going to say Chris in the comments saying that BD is an admin on Intelligentsia.
That's what I laughed at.
It's true.
Oof. I will say earlier when you were like, oh, I'm stalling, I don't want to get to my number 16, I expected that to be She-Hulk, and I was like already dreading that, especially after like our TV rankings. So I'm content that you have it in like the middle of your rank. Like this is high for you in the grand scheme of things. So I'm glad that you have it there. I agree with what you said. I respect what you said.
I had to think about it more. And thank you, Jenna. Thank you. Whew.
Oh gosh, I want to say that 18 through 13 for me were easy. The rest are all so close. It's so hard to rank them, and it makes me so sad that what is next because it doesn't deserve to be 12th. But I love Phase 4 so much, and so I have the holiday special. I loved it deeply. I don't have anything negative to say about it. It's just it's in the scheme of things, it's just this cute, short, little fun thing, and it's hard to justify putting it higher for some of these other things. Like, again, I don't have a single negative thing to say about it. I friggin' loved it. We're in this zone now where it's just pain for me to have to rank these.
I want an alien for Christmas. I want to know Jenna's number 12 pick for Christmas.
You're going to get that stuck in my head for like the next week. So thanks for that. My number 12 is Miss Marvel for a lot of the reasons that BD already said. Iman Vellani is incredible. I love her so much. The first 2 episodes of this show are so good that's kind of what eked it out above Moon Knight a little bit for me. But it is the thing of like all of the partition stuff and all of the way that Kamala's story kind of evolved was fascinating to see, but it was such a left turn. But when the show was good, it was exceptional, and I love her and her supporting cast so much, and I cannot wait to see where they go next. So it's at number 12 for me.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on to the round of 11. Go ahead, drop your 11 in the chat, everybody. Aaron, what you got?
We're on the border now, so I do have Doctor Strange there, but I probably should talk about Thor, shouldn't I? Because I got it the backwards.
Yourself.
I redeemed myself. Rewatching that, I haven't had it drop as much, but maybe it's because I wasn't expecting as much from it as everybody else. I feel like I'm tipping my hand for the larger MCU rankings that are happening sometime in the distant future. But yeah, like I didn't feel like it was an affront because I don't love like Ragnarok like everybody else does in the same way. And there are some parts of it that are really kind of sweet, although they're like strange. But yeah, I got Doctor Strange at 11, so I can say it correctly. There we go.
My number 11 is also Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Wow.
I thought, really high expectations for this movie, and not just cameos. Like, I thought there'd be cool cameos, and there were. But ultimately, I wanted to explore the multiverse more. I thought the music fight was just kind of whack. I'm not going to lie. It didn't really do much for me. I loved the violence of it. I loved the darkness of it. I would have liked to see Doctor Strange get a bit more of an arc. I thought it was really nice, him kind of that moment of I love you in every universe, but realizing he always messes it up. Like, that was cool. I would have liked to see that be more of the focus, like his journey, like the main character having an emotional arc as a purpose of the film. It felt like that got kind of lost along the way. And then ultimately, like, they were like, oh yeah, this is about him accepting that he can't get the woman he loves anywhere. And it would have been better if that was more focal for me. And the multiverse stuff just felt undercooked for me. I was just like, well, okay, they killed John Krasinski. Great. It happened. That was awesome. But they just killed them all. And I was like, I really hope, and I wonder if my opinion of this movie will change if this does happen. I do really hope, that there will be repercussions where Earth 838 wants revenge. I think that'd be really cool. but maybe we'll get there one day. Jamie, what you got?
It's right. It's the same thing as the holiday special. It's Werewolf by Night, and it's like I love it, and it's this, and like honestly, it and the holiday special are pretty interchangeable. It was hard for me to place them, and the reason Werewolf by Night beats it is because of we've never seen anything like that in the MCU. But it's my same thing with Guardians. It's just this small little fun thing that is juicy and meaty and good, and we got Man Thing. But it's just, it's more, to me, it's more of like a fun little meaty business, and that's why it's a little lower. But again, we're still in that 4-star zone, and this is my highest 4-star. We're about to get already in my 4.5 after this one.
Hey, Jenna, what about you?
My number 11 is Black Widow. For a lot of the reasons that Aaron kind of already said. I love the family. I love Yelena. There's so much of this movie that I thoroughly enjoy. I do think, as BD has said on the show a million times, I think the third act gets a little outrageous when they're jumping in and out of the sky and doing whatever. It's so comic booky, but at the same time, it feels like it could have been executed a little bit better. But I like the movie a lot. I thoroughly enjoy it. I need more Yelena in my life immediately. It's just this had to fall somewhere.
All right, we are into the top 10. A lot of titles have been mentioned by nobody yet. We still got Hawkeye, Spider-Man No Way Home. What else hasn't been mentioned yet? Shang-Chi, I cannot believe, is down here.
Loki. No one's mentioned
Loki.
that.
Whatever, Ms. Marvel at 15.
Oh, yeah. All right, we are into the top 10. All right, comment section. Go ahead and drop your number 10 picks in that comment section. I'm reading them as we go. It's pretty entertaining to see that. Aaron, go ahead and drop your number 10 pick.
Layla, I'm so sorry. I got Moon Knight at 10. Yeah, Jim is outside just beating down the door like, let me in. It was very interesting, and I feel like Oscar should really get his flowers for a really tremendous performance, but I like some of the other stuff a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I sit there and I'm like, the ending of it is so incredible, is so good, but like, for the first 2 or 3, when I rewatched it, I was like, man, I always start it when they're in the tombs. I just go back and start from the tomb episode and then work my way to the end. Yeah.
All right. Jim, I'm so sorry, buddy. For what Aaron said, I don't have Moon Knight number 10. I have Hawkeye number 10. So Hawkeye, listen, I enjoyed a bit of Hawkeye. I think Kate Bishop is a wonderful new addition to the MCU, arguably my favorite young Avenger of the bunch. But ultimately, I don't know that I need to watch it again. The Wilson Fisk stuff at the end, it's that left turn you all know I hate so much. He was like suddenly bulletproof. I don't know if he's the same Kingpin from the Daredevil series. I'm really tired of having questions like that. I wish those things would be clarified. And so ultimately, my favorite parts of Hawkeye were in the very beginning, seeing Kate Bishop watch the Battle of New York. Seeing Avengers Tower before it was sold, and we still don't know who bought it. Not that this was set in New York and could have answered that, but it could have, and that's another thing I have with everything Marvel's doing. And ultimately, I think Hawkeye was quite good. I really enjoyed it. And also at the end of the show, we have a rankings list from one of the bros themselves to share with you all. So yeah, Hawkeye's my number 10.
For my number 10, I'm not apologizing to Jim and Layla because 10 is still a pretty good number, I think, for Moon Knight is my number 10. And listen, that's a 4.5. That's good stuff. I've watched it 3 times. I think it's Oscar Isaac has a top 3 MCU performance, in my opinion. But I've said it many times, which is every time I watch it, I'm like, yeah, 4.5. But is it really, or is it just that Oscar Isaac's so good that I'm clouded in my brain? That I still don't know. But I love it. But it is my bottom 4.5.
It's all fair. I want to. Sorry, people are talking about Kingpin wearing bulletproof suits. Like, I know, but the man took an arrow in the chest and took it out, and then got blown up through a wall and just stood up. Like,
he got his veggies. I don't know. He just drank a lot of milk since we saw him last.
Bro, yeah. All right, sorry for that side rant.
Well, my number 10 is Shang-Chi. I still thoroughly enjoy the movie. I love Destin. I love Simu. I can tell BD is hating me right now. I love this movie so much, but I do agree with what Jamie said. I feel like the two parts, like the two halves of it, are both interesting in their own right, but they feel so different from each other. Like I said, I still enjoy the movie so much. I am so excited for more Shang-Chi. It's just, it had to fall somewhere, but I still think number 10 is like not bad in the grand scheme of things.
All right.
I'm glad I could soften that blow for you.
Yeah.
Whew. We're even. We're almost even. I had She-Hulk lower than you had Shang-Chi, but listen, we're even. I'll come because I just want to be. All right, y'all. We're going to take a quick 1-minute break. Go ahead, screenshot this so you can take a minute to look at it because I want everybody in the comment section now to tell us whose list so far they most identify with. Whose list do you think who has the best taste is really what we're asking. Why is it Brandon? All right, guys, we're going to move on. We're going to take a 1-minute break. When we come back, we're doing the top 9 for Phase 4 of the MCU rankings. See you in a minute. Welcome back to the Phase Zero MCU Phase 4 rankings show. It is absolute chaos so far. We have we are divided, and I see the comment section. Everybody has a different favorite list so far, and that's why we do it. That's why there's 4 people on the show with all great opinions because we're all so different. We all love different things. All right, we're rolling on. We're in the top 9, top half of Phase 4 rankings. Woo-wee, woo-wee. Only 2 of us have Shang-Chi left, so that means 2 people are already wrong. But Aaron, you're the bottom of your top half. What's your number 9?
So I got Werewolf by Night down here. It is probably the most visually striking of all these projects just because it's so wildly different from the rest of it. But I also was like, I wish I could have seen some more of his weird little corner of the universe. I really do. And we sit on watch for when Man-Thing returns to us one day.
I'm glad we're in the same zone with that because I felt the pressure.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm a big special presentations fan, so these are higher for me. These are higher for me.
My
number 9. I've got Moon Knight. Number 9. It's definitely my top half. I really enjoyed Moon Knight. I really enjoyed talking about Moon Knight. I think Oscar Isaac, as Jamie said, gave a tremendous performance. I think episode 5 had just a tremendous emotional payoff. I think the mystery of the show was really nice. I think the finale should have been better. Like all these Disney Plus shows, I think the finale should have been better. I did not need a big crazy kaiju fight in Egypt. So ultimately, Moon Knight was very good. It was so weird. I remember I was watching She-Hulk and like just having a good time watching She-Hulk, laughing at it, having a good time. And then I put on episodes of Moon Knight and I was like, wow, it's like hard to go back to Moon Knight because it's so heavy and serious there. And that's one thing this is a compliment to the MCU that I'm weirdly making right now. It has all been so different. And that's one thing I want to compliment about Phase 4. But yeah, Moon Knight, my number 9. Wish the finale was better. Ultimately, very good show. And it's the bottom of my top half.
Jim is in the chat and he is not happy.
He's not happy.
Jim, look, I had Moon Knight the highest for everybody, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what's upsetting.
I know, yeah.
We are the keeper of Jim's jail cell keys. So stay there, Jim. Somebody revoke his commenting privileges before it gets out of hand. Jamie, what you got?
I swear the next 4 are all so close. It's so hard. Ms. Marvel, I loved it. It's great. It's still in my top half. It's a beautiful, awesome show. But I will say that I watched it twice and then I was like, I'm good for a while. And that's not this. And some of them I'll watch it twice and be like, round 3, let's go. But Iman Vellani, amazing. I can't wait to see more of her. She's the main reason why I'm so excited for the Marvels. I don't really have a lot of negative things to say about the show. It's very cute and very fun. And I think of all the shows, it's the second most like a TV show, which I really, really appreciate.
All right. Jenna, what you got number 9?
So my number 9 is Hawkeye. For a lot of the reasons that were previously said, I thoroughly enjoy the show so much. I've been meaning to do my like holiday season rewatch of it. I love Kate. I love Yelena. I love the character work that they did with Clint, because MCU Clint was always so frustrating to me, and they started to kind of redeem him and make him a little more comic accurate over the course of the show. But it's just at this point, the top 9 is just all things that I genuinely enjoy, and so this just had to be somewhere. But I still thoroughly love it.
All right, fair enough. I do see we have a pretty solid audience going. I want to thank everybody for watching us live, and everybody who's listening to us in podcast form. We love you too. We hope you're having a good weekend or drive to work or wherever you do listen to us. Please leave those 5-star reviews. And if you're watching us, we're trying to build that YouTube channel. I see lots of comments on Twitch. We love you watching us on Twitch. We're trying to build that YouTube channel. We're dropping all sorts of videos and interviews and all sorts of stuff like that. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/phase0. And that would really help us. I really was hoping to get us to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're coming up a little bit short right now, but hopefully we'll get there. And we're going to move on to pick number 8 in Phase 4 rankings. Aaron, what you got?
I got Loki down here. It's funny because we're ramping up for season 2. So thinking about it is like, oh man, I really enjoyed it. And I really just love Jonathan Majors. I quote those Kang bits, He Remains bits quite a bit around the house. So anything that gets said at our dinner table, like more than once a week, probably is good. So you're all right. You'll be all right, y'all. You'll be okay. I see the comments. Y'all be all right.
Aaron, we are different.
I know.
My number 8 is Black Widow. I really enjoy this movie. I do think, as has been said, the third act gets a little crazy when they start falling out of the sky. It is the opposite of the rest of the movie, which was literally grounded. I thought that the movie was pretty gritty and almost Winter Soldier grounded, not quite as gritty as Winter Soldier, but I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And then all of a sudden, when we saw that the Red Room was a floating thing among the clouds, I was like, please, oh gosh, where are we going? And then all of a sudden, terrible CGI, they're hanging from parachutes and hanging out of this, like falling out of the sky. But it wasn't enough to lose me. I thought like the visceral moment where she hits her nose on the table, like the things that Natasha went through were really powerful. I love, the character of Natasha Romanoff. And I thought that the movie was very good overall. And I remember this was like the first time back at the movies with the MCU post, COVID, post Endgame and Far From Home. And it delivered for me. I really enjoyed it. I wish that the third act had been a little bit neater, but overall, I still think Black Widow was a good movie, and it's my number 8.
Here we go. I just want to say that I was always going to have this movie lower than everybody. But we're still in top 8. We're in my space zone right now. Like we are still like top 8. I think it's very respectable. But I liked it the least of us, and it's Wakanda Forever. But I will say it got bumped up very high. Like the first time I watched it, it was a 4, and then the second time I watched it, it was a 4.5. It has really grown for me in my brain. But one thing is, like, I don't like underwater world stuff. Like, I refuse to see a 3-hour Avatar movie because it's just, I don't like that stuff. It's the same kind of thing. Like, it's similar to Shang-Chi in terms of like this very mystical, computer heavy world, although they did do some impressive filming with Wakanda Forever for realsies with water that I like really blew my mind. But yeah, this movie's beautiful, but a lot of what makes it beautiful is like reality stuff. And that's hard to contend with. It makes it harder to rewatch, and it's so heavy, but it's a beautiful movie. And I'm so glad that the second watch, it boosted up to a 4.5 for me.
Jamie, you are going to hate Avatar 2.
I'm not seeing it. I'm never going to see that movie. There's like no amount of like, unless Jim was like, Jamie, I will fire you if you don't see Avatar 2. I'm not seeing it.
Not even for the Mission Impossible preview.
What if like Elizabeth Olsen joined Avatar 3 and then you had to go back and watch 2 to understand her plot?
I tweeted this in 2017. I said James Cameron could put John Travolta, Elizabeth Olsen, and 400 Terminator Easter eggs in that movie, and I still wouldn't see it. So,
wow.
All right, Jenna, you're number 8.
So my number 8 is Multiverse of Madness. I still, again, we are in the thoroughly love category of the top list. I'm literally quoted on the DVD box. Y'all know I love this movie. I disagree with BD. I think the music note fight rules. I think like this movie understands just the spectacle and just the ridiculousness of Marvel, and it really showcases it in good ways and in bad. Krasinski almost kind of knocks this movie down a little bit for me because just seeing him get turned into string cheese is delightful, but just having the whole context of him being introduced just set off such a storm. But I thoroughly love this movie. I love what Sam Raimi did with it. So it's in my top 10 for sure.
Fair enough. Aaron, kick us off in the top 7 here.
Okay, I've got one of my reigning tops from last year right here at 7. I got Hawkeye. And see, I do have a heart, y'all. I do. I do. I have a tree in my house. It has ornaments on it. God. Can't wait to see more Kate Bishop. You managed to make me care about Clint in a way that I never thought I would. So it belongs up here. It's the episode where they're watching stuff in the house and he teaches her how to do a little coin flick trick to turn off the TV. Excellent. Excellent. So good. When I was rewatching it, I'm like, this is going up on the top 8 off of principle.
My number 7, this is where you start getting into really high, right? Like this is top. This is my, really love this stuff. The top 4 all can maybe be interchanged a bit based on the side of the bed I wake up on, but this top 7 is really like, I'm no longer in the middle here anymore. This is stuff I really, really like. And number 7 is the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. I thought it spent a little too much time on music, considering how short it already was, like in the performances within the show. Even though they were fun, I just wanted the story to keep going. I love the Guardians characters. I think it's really, really impressive how James Gunn manages to pack emotion into this. And if we were doing a 2022 recap in general about our favorite things, there are 2 moments in Peacemaker, specifically the House of Pain montage and the Dye Beard moment at the end, where James Gunn manages to squeeze in, heavy emotion that you don't see coming. And he did that in the Guardian special with Mantis and Star-Lord, with the Yondu animated moment where you see the meaning of the guns and all that stuff. So the Guardians Holiday Special I thought was super fun. I love the special presentation format, and overall it was really, really nice to see top tier MCU characters in a clearly high budget thing on Disney Plus, and it worked for me. Love the Guardians Holiday Special.
Somebody a couple weeks ago was so confident that my number 7 was going to be my number 2. So, blowing your mind, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So I want to say, first of all, when we did our Wakanda Forever episode, and I kind of hinted that this would be higher, it's still really close because Wakanda Forever, technically a better film. Yeah, I'm not going to argue that. But I love Multiverse of Madness so much because, one, I love Sam Raimi. And when I say that, I don't mean I love the Spider-Man trilogy. I mean I love the Evil Dead trilogy. And I just like that goofy, campy stuff, and I love his style. But of course, the reason why this movie is as high as it is because Elizabeth Olsen eats. I mean, she's giving one of the best performances, because she's always giving one of the best performances. Honestly, I'm surprised it's even this low. But we're in that zone. We're in a hot zone. Things are good. I think again, if it's in the top 8, if it's on your MySpace profile, I think that's a high compliment. So.
As good as Elizabeth Olsen was, imagine if they wrote a story for her that made more sense.
To me, it makes sense. Okay, I don't understand why everyone's like, it ruins her WandaVision character arc when it's the Darkhold did it.
Yeah, okay, well, do something about that. Do something to relate to WandaVision. Like show that to the audience.
But it's the Darkhold. Like they do. They explain the Darkhold, and then she's reading it, and now it has corrupted her. This is the next part of that story.
Yeah, kind of. It all happened so fast. It just felt kind of. It felt a little rushed to me. I don't disagree with you on the quality of film. For me, it was obviously a little bit lower, and I think Lizzie was amazing. I ain't dissing Lizzie. I ain't dissing your girl. I think she was fantastic. Sorry, Jenna, go ahead.
I'm glad that BD and I, who are the biggest Guardians fans on the panel, both had the holiday special in the same spot. It's at number 7 for me. I've now watched it 3 times. I think it is so rewatchable. It is going to be a staple of the Christmas season for me. I just think it's so well done. I think it's more self-contained than I had expected, but there's kind of a beauty in that, and there's something really fun about that. And I think that they just knocked it out of the park, and it's going to make Volume 3 hurt so much more now that we have this. I can't can't wait to rewatch this next Christmas and having volume 3 in my head and just like gutturally sob the entire time. Like it's going to be a nightmare and I look forward to it.
Yeah, I'm not ready to say goodbye to any of them.
Nope.
Aaron, what you got number 6?
The 6-5 split was very hard for me. This is like filling out your NCAA tournament bracket right now. I'm like, oh God. I have She-Hulk down here, but I do really, really love, and I feel very strongly about the last couple episodes. I think they're really, really clever. I don't know if we could ever do them again, but they're so clever and it makes sense. And I feel like they're just gonna defy her wishes anyway. So we get to have our cake and eat it too, because that blood still got collected. So I don't know. Tatiana Maslany, please be, if they're not gonna have my boy have his movie for Captain America 4, please have her in it. If they're gonna take everything away from me, please give me that morsel Kevin Feige. All right, thank you.
My number 6 is another special presentation. I got them back to back. Werewolf by Night. I thought Werewolf by Night I love the special presentation format. I think it took better advantage of it than the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special did, because it told a tighter story at a faster pace, introduced really cool new characters, took some really interesting chances with the black and white, with the violence. Somebody got an arrow through their freaking mouth. Not used to seeing that. Somebody used like an amputated hand. I thought the Werewolf by Night special was just really well done. Hats off to Michael Giacchino for his first time directing something like that. And the story, Jack Russell, werewolf, the werewolf, the practical effects, the introduction of Man-Thing, I thought it was really good. It was a very clear, concise story with a beginning, middle, and an end that a lot of projects in the MCU right now didn't have as tightly as Werewolf by Night did. And I thought it was just really good. So overall, it's my number 6. Had it been a movie, it might have been even higher. Had it had another 30 minutes to tell even more story, but that could have also made it worse because it used all 52 of its minutes really, really well. So yeah.
I want to say that Layla's in the chat mad at BD for having Moon Knight so low, but what she doesn't know is the rest of us put it even lower. So don't be mad at BD.
I'm so sorry, Layla. I'm so sorry.
She watches this back.
Yeah, I know that I'm losing everyone by not putting this in my top 5, but 6, I don't know, is still really high. Still 4.5. My number 6 is Spider-Man. No Way Home.
Okay.
I don't know why this is shocking. It's really high on my list. 6 is really high. I've talked about this so many times. It's a great, beautiful film. And watching the three Spider-Men together is absolute joy, a joy. But it's just for me not as rewatchable because it's so friggin' sad. Sometimes I like to be happy. Who knew? So it did not quite crack the top 5.
Spider-Man.
I think it's properly like Spider-Man's, which is even weird.
Yeah, it is. But Spider-Man's funner to say. More fun.
Yeah.
To avoid it, I just say Spidey's.
Yeah.
Just so I don't take a chance at being incorrect.
Yeah.
I'll talk about Spider-Man when I get to it at its more properly high ranked position on my list. Jenna, what you got?
So my number 6 is Wakanda Forever. I am still just so amazed that this movie came together the way that it did. It's such an experience to consume it, which is why I think like I'm not going to find myself rewatching it as often, but I still think it is a masterfully made movie given the circumstances. And I think the approach that they had to Namor is one of the best adaptations of any comic book thing ever. Like the way that they recontextualize his entire origin and the way that Tenoch played him is just like astronomically good. So it's very high up for me. I loved it.
All right, it's getting interesting. It's getting saucy. Woo, we're in the top 5, everybody. Top 5, Twitch, YouTube. Go ahead, drop your number 5 pick from Phase 4 of the MCU out of all 18 titles. What do you have? Number 5, Aaron, start us off.
Well, friend of the podcast, Simulu, can rest easy because he's in the top 5 of 2 of our rankings. I got Shang-Chi at 5. Rewatching this, man, I am really confused. I'm like, hey, when are we going to get some more of that? I didn't expect for it to come this high, probably. I had a real struggle between this and She-Hulk, and maybe if Tatiana Maslany came on the podcast, maybe it would have been at 5. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's really, really good. The action is phenomenal. I don't really mind our laser beam problem. I feel like the rest of my friends in the panel, that laser beam thing is a recurring theme. So we're gonna have to get through that in Phase 5. But yeah, that's it. That's why I got 5.
All right. My number 5. This one's. I feel like this is gonna get one of those strong reactions, just like Spider-Man did for Jamie, just like Wakanda did for Jenna. I have WandaVision number 5.
Ah!
Yeah, I have WandaVision number 5. I think
Wow.
WandaVision is great. I think it was a tremendous experience. I do personally wonder if WandaVision was the 4th Disney Plus show or the 5th Disney Plus show. Would we have bought into it the same way we did, or just thought it was kind of weird and different? At the time, weird and different was perfect. I loved it. The experience of watching WandaVision is really, I think, my favorite part of the show more than the show itself. But I still, Ralph Boner is unforgivable. The aerospace engineer, they could have shut that down for us. All right, who was pushing that? It wasn't me. Couldn't have been me. I'm kind of criticizing it to explain why it's number 5. There's also so much to love in WandaVision. I think that the story between Wanda and Vision, the love story there was tremendous. It's one of the best relationships the MCU has going for it, which is crazy because it's between a witch and a toaster. And I think that, I think overall the mystery of it, the conversation about it, the unique style of storytelling, the sitcom format, the song intros, there was so much to love in WandaVision. I think that the show as a whole is, like all these other things, so much better than its finale. If the finale had been better, for me at least, I think this show would have been much higher on my list. It could have been number 1, but I think the finale really felt like it kind of let me down and became the big problem that everything on this list seems to have. Maybe save for like Spider-Man or Black Panther. So overall, WandaVision, very, very good. Not good enough to be more than 5, but 5 is still very good because I love these next 4 so much.
Wow. I mean, I guess that's fine.
I just tried to
You're wrong, but
it's crazy. I just checked Jamie and I didn't get the delivered. Like, I think she just blocked my number.
I want to say somebody in the comments called me out and they said that, Jamie, not everything has to be happy for it to be rewatchable. And I think that's true. I can rewatch Magnolia, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, these tragic films over and over again. But when I'm watching my little boy with his sticky hands who climbs the wall, that's different. That's a different kind of sad. And like that's we're talking different kind of genres. I like sad things and I can watch them a lot. It's just we're talking about Marvel and I prefer a lot of fun, which is why in my top 5, I wish it could be higher, but like BD said, we're in our 5 zone. It's hard to pick. I got She-Hulk at number 5. I love it. It is my highest 4.5. After this, we're getting to my 5 zones. I mean, it's just a delight. I just rewatched it last week in my obligatory one sitting binge, and it is the most TV show we've gotten. Like I didn't need to one sitting binge it because that's not what it is, and that's fun. And man, Tatiana, she's my girl. Love her so much. Excellent programming.
I do have to say, I completely agree about like your sad Spider-Man thing, because like that's why I cannot rewatch Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's like It is just the dread that I feel every time I even think about that movie. It's like I want your Spider-Man movies. I'll just watch those instead. So my number 5 is Werewolf by Night. I know everyone's kind of basically talked about it thus far. I'm still just like in awe that it even exists in this franchise, much less in the way that it does in black and white with so much aesthetic stuff. We get a practical man thing. We get so many elements that are just surreal to have in the MCU. I think Michael Giacchino just absolutely knocked it out of the park. I think all of the cast did such a good job, and it was such a good way to cement the special presentation concept, because I think it showed you can introduce all of these things that are entirely unheard of in the franchise, but you can still make us super invested in them in a very small amount of time. So I loved it. It's easily in my top 5.
I can't believe it. We're in the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
We're here. Everybody in the chat, go ahead. Start sounding off with your number 4 picks. Aaron,
okay.
Lucky Aaron gets to go first with the top 4.
I think some of you probably think I have this higher, but it is still in the top 5. And I really did have some discussion, but my friendship with my friends came first. So I have Miss Marvel at 4. We have
Okay.
America's favorite family, the Khans, here at number 4. I think it's really a testament to introducing some of these characters that so many people just love, like Kamala now, that are not in that YA younger readers like quadrant. Because if you talk to any school librarians, the kids know what's up with Miss Marvel. It's us that need to catch up. So I'm excited to see what she does next. I enjoyed it. I don't really I know that like some parts of it might have been weird or whatever, but I really enjoyed it on rewatch. So it's a number 4.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I did expect you to have that higher, but
I thought it was gonna be your number 2 for sure.
No.
Same. Yeah.
You made a good case. You made a good case for that number 4. All right, and I feel like this top 4. This is where, especially 2 through 4, and even 1 through 4. Man, these you depends what I had for dinner and where I wake up on the side of the bed, because they could change. And this is where I really wrestled with things. My number 4 is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I think this movie was fantastic. I liked it even more the second time. I think that the introduction of Namor as a villain was brilliant. I think Tenoch Huerta did a fantastic job. Ryan Coogler upped his ante on the action. I thought the big we can talk about spoilers, but I'll just keep it to myself. The big death in this movie, the character that is killed off in this movie midway through the movie, really was a shock. Was emotionally powerful, and it solidified a villain, like as an antagonist. And even though you understand what Namor's doing, you don't agree with it, but it makes them the bad guy of the film. And it's like, we don't get that. It's so rare we get these kind of stakes in the MCU. We get, like, I think the MCU's biggest weakness is often villains. Like Thanos is such a rare case, and I think the good villains stand out because there are a lot of kind of forgettable villains. So I think that this one thrived on a good villain. It thrived on a story where you can understand both sides of the battle that is happening. And ultimately, I think Ryan Coogler did a brilliant job honoring Chadwick Boseman with it. I think Angela Bassett and Denai Guerrero both deserve every nomination in the world for their performances. That sequence, Have I Not Given Everything, was tremendous. And Letitia Wright becoming, Black Panther as Shuri was great. That final fight looked like it could have been directed by Chloe Zhao with some of them. The desert, actual sun stuff was great. Overall, brilliant movie. I don't have critiques. No notes. Number 4.
All right, top 4. We have now reached my 5-star zone. These last 4 for me are ones that I infinite rewatch. I love them. We're in a me zone. It's not about what's the best. It's about what brings me joy. And for me, number 4 is Hawkeye. I just love this show so much. It just, the Christmas, the characters, Kate and Yelena, I could watch all day long. It is on the ground action, which is very much my thing. The finale, I think the finale of Hawkeye made me cry harder than anything else in Phase 4. So it just really hit me in all the right emotional spots. And I don't care about the Kingpin complaints. Like, that stuff doesn't bother me. So it brings me a lot of joy.
She swatted me away like a fly. You saw that? Jenna, what you got number 4?
Also, I just need to say the chat is on fire now because you called Namor a villain. He's a very good antagonist. It's like, yes, he's the antagonist of the conflict of the movie, but really colonialism is the true villain of that movie. And I feel like we need to acknowledge that. I know Nicole is championing that.
Yes, exactly. I was about to say, Jenna has an earpiece with Nicole just feeding her lines right now.
She has written like a 1,000-word think piece basically arguing that point and did a very good job. So
that man did what he did. I'll call him a villain and an antagonist. I don't care. The man did what he did. Y'all saw it. Y'all saw who drowned. If that's not a villain move, I don't know. But I understand. I know.
Yeah. So my number 4 is Loki. I know I always champion the show. I think so much of it is great. I think Tom Hiddleston knocked it out of the park. I think the show is just such a unique blend of what I love about comics, of just the very weird, very niche components of it. It was easily in my top 4. Everything else in my top 3 I love a lot more. I feel like that my top 3 are more tuned to like the era of watching it and the experience of watching it is why it belongs in my top 3 in part. But Loki is so great, and I am so excited for season 2.
I love Loki, as you can see, because it hasn't been named yet. All right, we're to the top 3. Comment section. Go ahead, go crazy. Drop your number 3 in there. Aaron, what do you got?
All right, I went back and forth on this one, but I think that due to the fact that it's what delivered me to all of you, I got WandaVision at number 3. It's hard. It's going to be very difficult to replicate that, no matter how you feel about how it ended, how like the ups and downs of it. I just feel like some shows hit at the perfect time, and WandaVision clearly was the perfect show at the perfect time. Whatever machinations that led to it being the first one, sometimes the universe gives you a natural 20. and it was a definite natural 20. I really hope that Vision Quest plays off of whatever they establish here, that Agatha doesn't strim from what like happens there, because everybody loves it so much that it made all of us freak out during Multiverse of Madness because we all loved Wanda so much for watching her journey. So it's at number 3.
I hope we can recapture that fun and that hype and all that, because it was a good time to be a Marvel fan when WandaVision was playing. Man, that was fun. It was also a good time to be a Marvel fan when my number 3 pick was playing. So here it is, number 3. I have Loki. I thought Loki was brilliant. I thought the conversations around Loki were almost as fun as WandaVision. They were a ton of fun, but I think overall the series for me, I think it was better than WandaVision. As a whole, the story I liked better. Tom Hiddleston was great. I really enjoyed Sylvie and Loki. I really enjoyed, we even got Judith from The Walking Dead in there as a Loki variant. A young Ray. So I just thought the show was brilliant. I think some of the cliffhangers started to frustrate me as we got acclimated to Marvel telling stories in this format, like the time bombs going to all, like I think it was episode 2 ended, and they had like all those kind of streams branching off. That was like I really wanted that to pay off, and it didn't. It was just like the episode picked up as if it didn't happen. I guess the TVA agents all settled it, but Owen Wilson was great. Him and Tom Hiddleston together were tremendous. Give that man a jet ski for the love of Kang, and the introduction of Kang. That finale worked for me. I thought He Who Remains was great. The Eliath stuff was great. Richard E. Grant as a Loki was great. I adore this show. I thought it was super fun, and I am hyped for season 2. Overall, Loki, number 3, easy choice for me to be in the top 3.
We were not the same for 10, but we're back together in our third spot, BD, because I also have Loki at number 3. I love this show. Loki's my favorite man in the MCU. There's a lot of women that top him, but as far as men go, he's my number 1. This show is I love that it's a sci-fi romance. I mean, that is just 2 genres that I think we don't get to see together a lot, and I deeply, deeply love that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good taste. Jenna, what you got?
This time.
I match with Aaron. My number 3 is WandaVision. I still think the era of watching WandaVision week to week is still unparalleled. I feel like we could recapture that magic eventually, but we will never have anything exactly as pure as that experience was. Like, I have covered a lot of superhero TV. That was kind of my bread and butter when I started here, was covering like the CW's DC shows. And it was like just seeing the stratosphere of superhero TV becoming appointment viewing was just like such a surreal thing to see. And it's like, I love the aesthetics of the show and the attention to detail. I think Elizabeth delivers like such an incredible performance. This would be in my top 2, but like the Ralph Boner stuff still is a little irritating, but it's easily in my top 3. Like, that experience was just incredible.
I don't think we'll ever get back to that. I don't think that's ever going to happen again.
I'm going to hold out hope until I'm old and dead.
Yeah, it was just special. WandaVision was a special time online. It was a lot of fun. It was like waking up at as early as possible to watch it because you couldn't open Twitter yet. And as soon as you got on Twitter, you just found thousands of people talking about it. That was fun. And that will help build this show too. That was a fun time. All right, we're in the top 2. Not a lot left here. Aaron, comments, drop them in there. Aaron, go ahead.
We're running out of runway. I went back and forth of whether to revive the same gag again from last year, whether I tried to go ahead and mislead you, but I'm not going to do that. It's Spider-Man No Way Home. I feel like my top 2 shows you that I don't mind getting hurt. So bring it on, James Gunn. I feel like I'm very thankful to John Watts and them, because I really don't mind the way that Peter is developed in MCU. I know people have their quibbles about it, but as someone who really cut my teeth on the ultimate version of Spider-Man, he's very, very similar. And having him interact with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield is like a fever dream. And then the crowd reactions and stuff. It really felt a lot like WandaVision, but in a theater with all the crazy people online screaming at the same time. And I really am thankful for that and really enjoyed that whole time. So yeah. Also, Andrew, stay out of the cameras, boy. Stay out of the cameras. Don't go in front of no cameras. Don't say anything. Please don't.
Aaron, I'm with you. I think that Spider-Man No Way Home really could have been my number 1 if it were a better movie. I think it was a really, really good movie, and they did a very good job. But Spider-Man No Way Home is my number 2 because I think I would have liked it even more if it were the 4th Spider-Man movie that I think was originally the plan. I think Spider-Man 3 with just Tom Holland building up to this and then the multiverse being unleashed and this happening a bit more organically would have won me over. That said, as the plot did not feel super organic, it felt a bit contrived just for the sake of getting all these actors whose schedules finally lined up to do the impossible. They made it as fun as it possibly could have been. It worked. It worked well enough, at least for me to love the movie. I think it's great. It was one of the most immaculate movie-going experiences as a Marvel fan. We all knew they were in the movie. I wish we didn't. Oh my gosh, if we didn't know they were in the movie, it would have been. I can't imagine seeing them step through those portals. But it was so contrived to the point that even Ned started doing magic. I was like, they had to do so much stuff to just throw a couple things in here. It was like, all right, the movie's not perfect. It's definitely not perfect. But it is so much fun, and it is good enough, and has emotional payoffs and characters and moments and lessons for characters to learn that I still love it. And it's my number 2.
I'm dreading this. My heart is beating so fast. The 2 people left on my side are about to abandon me. I'm about to lose everyone. But listen, I've watched this movie 9 times. And it brings me joy, and it's Black Widow is my number 2. I know that no one is going to agree with me. I think everyone thinks I'm crazy, but here's the thing. You guys know that Mission Impossible is my jam. I've said it already. There is not a single Marvel project coming out next year that tops my excitement for Mission Impossible. And that's this kind of zone. The action's incredible. All the characters we introduced to. I mean, you get Rachel Weisz and Florence Pugh in there. That's it. I'm sorry. That's all I need in my life. And also, when I reviewed it for the site, I talked about how I thought it had the weakest villain in a long time. But after watching it 9 times, I've really come around to how I think that he's one of the scariest villains we've ever had, because he's the most realistic villain, and we haven't had that before. In a way that it's icky, and there's just so many things. And I know that some people don't like Taskmaster. I really enjoy that interpretation, but I understand that. I don't know. The CGI in the end doesn't bother me. I'm literally shaking because I know that this is the most controversial of my opinions, but I almost lied. I almost thought about lying, but it's my truth. The truth is that I deeply, deeply love this movie, and it is my favorite movie of Phase 4.
There's a lot to love in this movie. I think I agree with you. The villain's great. Taskmaster's not great, but the real villain of the movie is great and terrifying. Yeah. And I think that and the way, and honestly, I don't like what they did with Taskmaster, but I would love to have gotten Tony Masters like a full-on realized Taskmaster from the comics. But as an MCU fan, I'd be lying if I said I didn't like that it fit Natasha's Red in her Ledger moment from the first Avengers movie. That was enough for me to be like, okay, this makes sense for Natasha's story, and this movie is Natasha's story. So I don't think you're crazy, Jamie. I don't think you're crazy.
Thank you.
Let me just say, if Jamie hadn't put Black Widow in her top 3, I would have thought something was wrong. I would have been like, you've been like, you're a life model decoy or something. Like, something's wrong here. So I was going back and forth with my top 2. I was thinking maybe I'll just completely swerve on people and put my top 2 as my number 1. But now I see that I am not alone in putting this at number 2. It's No Way Home. I still think this movie is. Yes, parts of it are contrived, but it's contrived in the way that a comic event is, of just things just happen, the plot just escalates. It's a little ridiculous, but that's part of the fun of it. And the novelty is really seeing all of these different characters in the same room together. I have never been to a press screening where there has been that loud of a reaction to things before, because even people who were in the media were not prepared for the cameos that are in this movie. And then going on opening night and watching this with a full IMAX crowd was one of the best movie going experiences I have ever had. The euphoria that was around me was just unbelievable. So I love this movie so much. I love the way that they did the 3 Spider-Men. I think it is just so special, and it's definitely in my top 2.
All right, number 1. I don't even remember what everybody didn't say yet, so I don't even remember. All right, everybody in the chat. What is your number 1 title from Phase 4 of the MCU? If you're listening to us in podcast form, send us your tweets at Brennan Davis BD, at Jamie Cinematics, at Hey It's Jenna Lynn, at Summit Lake Hornet. We love hearing from you guys at Phase 0 CB. Drop them in the comment section on Twitch and YouTube. We're about to reveal our number one picks for movies, shows, and special presentations in Phase 4 of the MCU. Aaron, what you got, buddy?
All right. Surprising, probably absolutely no one. I have Wakanda Forever at number one. I wish we could go back in time and they could put out freaking Across the Spider-Verse this year, so I could have had my stuff match. But thanks, theaters, thanks life. But Ryan Coogler really came through. The movie comes together really well. Even me as a person who believed in it before, I could not have imagined the sort of journey that he'd take us all on. I think we're all a little bit better for it. There's other characters. Like, I was already excited for Ironheart. I now cannot wait when we do our Phase 5 rankings for next year. Riri going to be up there too, I'm sure, because of how this all went. I just think it's gorgeous and really plaintive and shows you that a lot of the time, like this really Phase 4 really is about difference. Like, you can really have these sort of emotional moments and not really shy away from them in ways that I think that people critique comic book movies. So yeah, it's my number one.
Hey, I can't wait to see Ironheart series, man. Thank you for the plug on that. We are going to do our 2023 hype rankings early January. So if you're new to the show today, if you're just discovering us, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and we are on every major podcast platform. We drop new episodes every Wednesday. That changes when shows are dropping new episodes on Thursdays, but I don't know. We'll figure that out next year. My number one, surprising absolutely no one, is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. It is my favorite and the best movie in Phase 4 of the MCU. I think the character of Shang-Chi is really awesome. I love the exploration of this culture. It's like I've loved kung fu movies as a kid, and I think that the MCU doing it, like Bill Pope's cinematography was tremendous right out of the gate. That first sequence was awesome. I loved the fighting dance scene. I thought that was incredible. I thought this movie was beautiful. The third act, it's just like everything else in the MCU right now. The third act got a little crazy, but it worked for me in this case. The dragon was awesome. It looked really cool, man. I love the family dynamic, and ultimately, I think I would have liked this movie even more if it didn't have such a bombastic third act. But it stayed true to what I loved about it, which was a story about the family, which was a story about Wenwu and Sean and Xialing, and Shang-Chi had to fight his own father, which was really difficult. And I loved that. I felt the weight of that. And it made me want to see these characters immediately. I was so pissed that the credit scene of this made it seem like he was going on to be in Doctor Strange, and then he wasn't. Like, it's like he left with Wong, and then nothing happened after that. So I'm real curious, where are we going to see this guy again? We have a Kang Dynasty next, being directed by the genius of this movie, Destin Daniel Cretton. Did a tremendous job directing it, both in terms of the fight choreography, which the stunt team did a tremendous job working with him on, and the heart of the movie, the characters. And I don't know how he's possibly going to direct Shang-Chi 2 before Avengers Kang Dynasty. It doesn't seem like he's going to, but it made me want more of these characters immediately. And I hope that when we see them again, it's like Thor and Loki. Like, there's the sibling dynamic, brother-sister dynamic. Like, and it's kind of I don't know. I think Shang-Chi was brilliant. Easily my number one. And great new addition. Best new addition to the MCU at post-Endgame for me.
Get ready to be shocked with my number one.
We're all bringing the heat of number one. So many surprises.
Yep. I know. Obviously my number one is WandaVision. And here's the thing. Everything else on my list is just Jamie, Joy, whatever I feel going. But if I was going to make an unbiased list, this would still be number one. I genuinely think it's the best thing Marvel's ever done. And I think there's a reason it's the only thing that is in all of our top 5. I mean, it is unique and special. And I mean, Elizabeth Olsen's amazing. Catherine Hahn's amazing, but it's just rich and excellent. And it's the reason like Aaron said, it's the reason we're all here. It started this, and that gives it a really special, a boost. But Man, I mean, I feel like you're hard pressed to find some people who deeply hate WandaVision. I mean, I'm sure they exist, but like even still, it is. You don't have to tell me if you do. I don't need to know. But I believe you exist. Yeah, it's just I just think it's perfect.
So I know I said at the beginning of the show, one of the things that kind of formed this list is the adaptation, is it the perfect thing for the character that it's about? And also, as I had said, like the experience of watching the thing. So surprising absolutely no one, my number one is She-Hulk, because I recognize that it is not everybody's favorite. Seen people in the chat the entire time like, Jenna's going to rank She-Hulk above XYZ. It's like, yes, I am, because personally, it's my favorite actress playing my favorite Marvel character, and playing her in a way that perfectly fit the years of comics that she's had. And it perfectly told the type of story that she needed to have. She didn't have to be thrown into the MCU from like 5 or 6 years ago, where it would just strip away all of her personality. We got her personality, and the experience of staying up until like 2 a.m. every week to watch the episodes I hadn't seen yet, and to just be a part of the conversation, was just absolutely incredible. To Jamie's point, if I was doing an objective ranking like on the website, this definitely would not be as high up, but it's my own personal ranking. There was nothing else like this for me in Phase 4.
I love that. I love how all of the projects we all wanted to deliver really did. And now we finally have a She-Hulk Hot Toys figure, which Jenna is going to have.
Yes.
I love it. Well, this was awesome. Look at our list. This is good. It's cool. Everybody in the comment section, go ahead, be as friendly as you will, please. And let us know which list you most agree with. We'll also have an image of this we're going to share on Twitter and on social media. I'm actually going to tee up a photo of it on a screen here and take a photo of it and post it on Instagram, because I found out that people on Instagram don't even know we have a podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure to share this everywhere, because I think these rankings episodes are fun. There's actually one thing I want to do. We have a couple celebrity lists and staff lists that we're going to get to as a nice little surprise to end the show today. But first, I actually want to pull up our 2022 hype rankings that we did at the beginning of the year, and see, I didn't look at this, how we all feel about him now. We included Morbius at the time because it seemed like maybe it was going to be tied. Ultimately, it wasn't.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Spider-Verse. Wow, Doctor Strange was my number one. Thor was my number two.
Yeah, we all had Thor way too high.
Yeah.
Like we all had
Aaron
such
was the only
outside.
one.
Aaron was the one who like somehow knew that was where the movie was going to end
let's
up.
go.
The rest of us overhyped that way too much.
Wow, my list sucked. Okay, just so everybody's watching, everybody who's listening to us in podcast form, I Am Groot is pretty low for everybody. Morbius was on this list. It did not crack the top 9 for anyone. It was last for Jamie and Jenna. Good job, everybody. Wakanda Forever was 6 for me and Jamie. It was 4 for Aaron. That jumped up. Miss Marvel at number 3 for Aaron. That ended up number 4, but Spider-Verse got kicked. So it's interesting. Secret Invasion was pretty high, mid-high for all of us. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special ended up exceeding my expectations by a lot. It was number 8 for me in the rankings, which didn't include the 2021 year. And She-Hulk for Jenna was number 1 in the hype and ultimately ended up number 1. And Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was Jamie's number 1 most hyped. And
She-Hulk beat it. So
She-Hulk beat it.
I think that's the big thing on my list, is that She-Hulk topped it.
Aaron certainly seems to have the list that was most accurate to where it ended up with his final taste after watching it.
I don't know how. I'm still upset. You still took freaking miles from me. If it was on the board, golly, I could have maybe got the sweep. But Wakanda outperformed. But I don't know, man. Don't ask me. This is my terrible mutant power. Apparently,
the chat is asking you like what the lottery numbers are.
Exactly. I don't even know.
Pretty close. Nicely done, Aaron. Nicely done. All right. Now I want to bring a few rankings lists from some of our colleagues here, people you have seen on the show. We invited everybody to do it. Maybe we'll get some late submissions from people. I'll take some of the blame on that. I was late on getting some of this put together. I think first we have Nicole Drum, Namor's number 1 fan. Nicole's list: Loki number 1, Wakanda Forever number 2, WandaVision, Werewolf by Night, She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Hawkeye, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Shang-Chi, Black Widow, Falcon Winter Soldier, I Am Groot, Thor Love and Thunder, What If, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, dead last.
Nicole.
Wow, that's the group.
Her love of Wanda put it at last place. Like we've talked about this a lot, like in our work Slack and stuff. Of like, I can totally see why she put that last.
Wow.
Interesting where it's like my love of Wanda made it higher. I think that's an interesting.
Yeah.
There are two types of Wanda fans. Spider-Man, middle of the road there too. That's interesting. All right, so that's Nicole's list. Thank you for submitting that, Nicole. We also have a list from Jim Viscardi. This one's probably going to surprise a bunch of you guys. Just Night, Werewolf by Night, which is responsible for the first appearance of Moon Knight in the comics at number 2, and then Moon Knight ranked 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Jim actually only watched Moon Knight. He didn't watch anything else from the MCU since it came out. We also, friend of the show and man of the year in the NFL there, Cam Hayward. We love Cam, dude. Cam is having a hell of a season on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. We're proud of him for that. We hope the Steelers maybe they can have a better final couple weeks here. But Cam's doing his job, and I love Cam. He's a good dude. Big Marvel fan. He has kept up with everything, and he is busting his butt this season in the NFL and getting the recognition he deserves. And let's see what he has to say about Phase 4 of the MCU.
What's up, everybody at Phase 0? Appreciate you guys having my list. Hopefully you guys can destroy it like everybody else does yours, including me. I always give you guys a hard time, but happy holidays to you guys. I know you guys are doing some great work. My list, I was having a tough time with the top 3 because they were all great. Even the middle ones were pretty good, but have your fun, rip it apart, make sure. We know mine was better than everybody else's, though. At least the guests. I'll give them that. All right, guys. See you later.
And there's Cam's list. He's got Spider-Man number 1, Wakanda Forever number 2, Loki number 3, and Shang-Chi number 4. That is a great top 4, if I do say so myself, Cam. Really fantastic top 4. And WandaVision number 5. Look at this. Me and Cam are best friends. I'm telling you. Guardians Holiday Special number 6, She-Hulk 7, Moon Knight, Werewolf by Night, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Miss Marvel, Doctor Strange, Falcon Winter Soldier, Thor: Love and Thunder, What If, I Am Groot, and Eternals in last place for Cam.
This is a good list.
Yeah,
I really appreciate how high he has She-Hulk. This is pretty solid.
I like Cam's list quite a bit, actually. Thank you, Cam, for the video. We also have one of the bros from Hawkeye. He sent a video, but it came in a Twitter DM, and I couldn't figure out how to download it. So we're just we'll share it on social media, on the Phase 0 Twitter account, and maybe on Instagram or something. But Carlos Navarro, who played one of the bros on Hawkeye. That's Hawkeye number 1.
I mean, fair. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah,
I think it's totally fair. And then he's got WandaVision number 2, Thor: Love and Thunder number 3. Hold the phone. That's hey, everybody's got their taste.
Woo!
Yeah.
Carlos.
Wow.
Listen, as somebody who loved Thor: Love and Thunder the first time I saw it, maybe Carlos just watched it and then never paid attention again. And luckily for him,
I respect it.
Yeah, that's what peace is like. Werewolf by Night number 4, Spider-Man No Way Home. Wow, Spider-Man No Way Home behind those is a very interesting move. Doctor Strange 2, Shang-Chi, What If, Black Widow, Loki, I Am Groot, and Falcon and Winter Soldier.
He's got to watch She-Hulk.
Yeah, I know.
He's got to watch She-Hulk. There are 6 titles Carlos hasn't watched, so I told him just leave them off, and we'll just go with the ones you did. And then we have one more list to show here, and this one comes from our good friend, legend, one of my favorite guests we've ever had, Neebs. Neebs has Wakanda Forever number 1. Good taste. Shang-Chi number 2, Spider-Man No Way Home number 3, Miss Marvel number 4. If y'all remember, we had Neebs on the show to talk about Miss Marvel, and he was one of the most insightful guests we've had. And I suggest following Neebs. He's doing some Bachelor pods, still doing his TikTok thing. Moon Knight number 5, WandaVision number 6.
He ruined the top 5 streak.
Dang it.
Neebs!
Doctor Strange number 9, She-Hulk, Falcon Winter Soldier, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Werewolf by Night, What If, Thor: Love and Thunder, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and I Am Groot number 18. Guardians Holiday Special, very low.
Wow, Eternal's very high.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. All right. So that's Neebs' list. And so that's our show today. That's our ranking show. We made it through, everybody.
We survived.
We survived.
Yeah, we went way over the time we were supposed to. Apologies to Mixable and Paramount Plus and ET or whoever shows our show in a time slot that we clearly don't fit in right now. But thank you to our YouTube audience for spending an hour and 40 minutes with us. We love you for it. And thank you for all Spotify Wraps. People spent like 4,000 minutes with us this year. My
Amazing.
goodness.
Wow.
This feels like the end of the year show, but we still have 2 more.
Yeah.
So have 2 more episodes. Next week we have a lot to talk about because we got a Spider-Verse trailer. I interviewed James Cameron, and that made quite a few headlines, unsurprisingly. And there's just a lot of MCU news to discuss from this past week, and I'm sure there will be more in the next week or so. We'll do that one more time this year before we do our 2022 Most Marvelous Moments episode 2 weeks from today. And I'm really looking forward to that one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But thank you so much for spending our rankings show with us. These are my favorite episodes we do. Can't wait to see everybody's rankings when I open Twitter and all the chaos that has ensued. Aaron, you got any last words for today's episode?
Rest in peace to young Twitch. It was very sad to read that. We watched a lot of Disney fairy tale weddings in our household, so I was not expecting to get that today. Rest in peace to that guy. I'm at Something Like Hornet on Twitter. And this has been a pleasure, guys. Let's avoid this for 2 weeks. How about it?
Jamie?
All I'll say is, like, this was nothing compared to how much I'm dreading you dropping our rankings just on Twitter, because those are people seeing it without hearing our explanations. And, like, I'm really good at explaining myself, but, like, that's what I'm dreading. Are people going to see those and then hop into my comments? But all of you listeners, you're wonderful. I love you. You've got our backs, and I appreciate you so, so much. Follow me on Letterboxd at Jamie Cinematics, because I watch a lot of movies.
And by the way, there's a Twitter community you can join, which you can, if you want to join, just tweet any of us. We can invite you to it, and we'll do that as well if you want to share your rankings there. Jenna, sorry to cut you off. What do you got to?
No, you're good. Just it's at Hey, it's Jenna Lynn on Twitter and all the other social medias. And go read some comics. Go give some comics for Christmas. They make a really great Christmas gift. You can probably find a trade paperback to give the people that you love. So yeah, just go read some comics. And this was a lot less painful than I had expected it to be. So I'm really glad for that.
This was a fun one. I feel like we're all still friends. We only got closer.
Yeah.
We're only better friends.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Please share our show with your friends. Please subscribe to the Phase Zero channel on YouTube. That's our number one focus right now, where we want to grow the audience the most. Please join the community on Twitter. We love seeing everybody. I scroll through that Twitter and I just see what people are saying, and I think it's fun. I always have a good time just seeing people talk about the MCU and everything there. And if you have submissions for the most marvelous moments of the year, go ahead and drop them in there. Maybe we'll steal them. Maybe we'll credit you. Whatever. No, I think we will probably have some good, fun Phase Zero community submissions for the marvelous moments of the year, whether it's a story point, a character moment, or a news story. I think that those are all fun things to incorporate when we look back at this year, because a lot has happened. We just ranked 18 titles from Phase 4. Over 2 years, we got 18 titles and 9 million episodes of Marvel shows. And that's it. So hit me up at Brandon Davis BD if you want to talk more, at Phase Zero CB if you want to follow us on Twitter, and youtube.com/C/Phase Zero. Thank you so much for the support. We'll see you next week. Later, everybody.